Compared to more recent times, the 2019 regular season was a strong showing for the sport of NASCAR. Better racing, close finishes, and attention-getting storylines have spiked interest in the on-track product. Also elevating was a pressure-packed playoff cutline with multiple teams and drivers competing through Indianapolis. In the end, Daniel Suarez and 7 times saw their campaigns come to a crushing end. In fact, this is the first postseason without Jimmie Johnson racing for a title. These 26 races have led to the postseason harvest. 16 drivers and teams have enriched hopes of advancing and winning the season championship in Miami. Time to wave the green flag on the spotter stand to the 2019 NASCAR Cup playoffs.
It's Kyle! Rowdy! Busch!
Honestly, I don't care if Kyle Busch has won 4 races, put forth the most consistent campaign since Jeff Gordon in 2007, and claimed his 2nd consecutive regular season championship. This season is a total failure if he comes up short at Homestead again. Even worse, Saturday will mark 111 days since Kyle Busch's last Cup Series victory. Meanwhile, his 3 teammates have all won within the last month. He's taken a drubbing within the organization, and they're going to need a lot better performances than whatever the heck Las Vegas was last weekend. Albeit, he should have enough playoff points to make it to the championship race. Winning playoff races will be critical for Rowdy restaking his claim at JGR and finally establishing himself as an elite driver in the 2010s.
The checkered flag will fly, Hamlin wins!
Try not to laugh, but as you recall, I had Denny Hamlin missing the playoffs back in February. Purging a completely regressive 2018 campaign, Chris Gabehart has delivered the success Denny Hamlin desires. 4 wins, 13 top 5, 17 top 10s, and 30 playoff points on this 10-week journey. The 11 is one of the more well-rounded teams that consistently finish races, execute fast pit stops, and lead circuits out front. Excelling at these areas are critical for a postseason run. The Chesterfield driver comes into the playoffs as a championship favorite, and he could finally claim the hardware that's eluded him since 2010. Putting that aside, you have to remember this is Denny Hamlin. Countless times the 11 has choked away prime opportunities to make it to Homestead, coining the term Denny derails. This could be a bigger choke job than 2010, and I can recall at least one person waiting for such an occurrence.
Green white, stage winner, MTJ, come on.
If you want a more conservative championship pick from JGR, might I recommend MTJ. With Furniture Row Racing, he won the Ultimate Prize back in 2017 and almost won the damn war against Joey Logano. As for this season, Cole Pearn and the 19 crew have accumulated 4 victories, 3 of those MTJ led over 100 laps. When they get dominant, this 19 is an unbeatable machine to reckon with. Building up 35 playoff points, Martin Truex Jr. should be a lock for Homestead. Not to mention they rekindled much-needed momentum at Las Vegas. Taking the lead late, MTJ and the 19 won the playoff opener. The last time this occurred was 2017, and we all know the outcome 2.5 months later. Claim the damn war in 2019, and it will mark as MTJ's 2nd championship in 3 seasons. If they come up short again, they will slowly join Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick as drivers failing to capitalize on the late 2010s.
We're champions, NASCAR champions.
After failing to capture glory in 2014 and 2016, Joey Logano finally got his taste of the Cup. The momentum carried on through the first 26 races, scoring 2 wins and leading 672 laps as one of the league's best. The only negatives relied with the horrendous 5-race stretch that ultimately costed the 22 the regular season trophy. Now the hindsights for Joey Logano and Todd Gordon are on defending their season title. Nobody has went back-to-back since Jimmie Johnson's impressive run of 5 championships. When you look at the current knockout style format, it greatly suits the style of this 22 team. Put up solid numbers, come in clutch when it matters, and hoist the hardware. Last weekend in Sin City, they went from a mid-pack starting position to stage 1 victory in only 80 laps. Joey Logano is a great driver, and their Ford Mustangs are on point. All that's left for them to do is double up.
That was an amazing run by that team right there. Paul Wolf.
With no uncertainty, it's been an up-and-down season for Brad Keselowski. The 2 teams started out by beating MTJ at Atlanta, completely drubbing the competition at Martinsville and stealing a late win at Kansas. Since that point, the Blue Deuce has greatly plodded along, similar to 2017 and 2018. The playoff opener carried that same mentality. Stuck in neutral during stages 1 and 2, they battled back for a decent top 5 finish. Similar to Logano, it's about peaking at the right time for Paul Wolf and the number 2 team. Last season, Brad K caught fire heading into the playoffs and netted the season opener in Las Vegas. They responded to this momentum by crumbling in the round of 12. One thing that could help them in their favor is how the round of 12 and round of 8 are set up. Both Kansas and Martinsville appear back-to-back to end the second round and kickstart the semifinal round before Miami. Win those two events and Brad Keselowski could very well enter Homestead as the championship favorite.
Kevin Harvick is going to hold him off.
Once again, Kevin Harvick has single-handedly carried the SHR team banner. Things started out sluggish with the Ford Mustang, but the Ford team has caught vengeance to end the summer. 3 wins in 8 races proves the 43-year-old can still wheel. Now the closer hopes to avenge the failures of 2018 and claim championship number 2. Honestly, the deciding factor as to whether the Ford team advances to Homestead relies on the pit crew. Kevin Harvick and Rodney Childers have a fast Ford Mustang, but it will go nowhere with poorly executed 15 to 20 second stops over the wall. They greatly lack the playoff points to bail them out, so the crew members will need to be on top of their game. As a part of the Di9 fandom, it's been a frustrating season rooting for Chase Elliott. On one hand, the blue and gold number 9 has led laps, completely dominated Watkins Glen, and netted 5 top 5s in a row. Adding into the equation woefully is awful pit calls by Alan Gustafson, a troubling summer stretch, as well as inconsistent finishes. In fact, his 11 top 10 finishes are a career worst in terms of the regular season. Luckily, the 9 team in HMS flipped a switch at Las Vegas. The Napa Filters Chevrolet Camaro was a rocket ship on short runs, finishing a stellar 4th place. It's the best this team has looked on intermediate since Kansas back in May. Similar to 2017 and 2018, Chase Elliott should consistently get through the first 2 rounds. In the round of 8, however, they'll likely need a winner race or 2 to get to Homestead. I'll tell you this, if they race up to their potential, no doubt will they be competing for a championship. He was the only driver on the same pavement with Brad Keselowski at Martinsville and has performed solidly at Texas and Phoenix. There's some added pressure for Chase to make something happen, especially considering Hendrick Motorsports has went 2 seasons without a Championship 4 appearance. Las Vegas was a solid start, and hopefully the speed can prevent them from missing Homestead for the 3rd year in a row.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
That's my response to whether or not Kurt Busch completely sparks a race team's performance. Departing the 41, that car went from narrowly missing Homestead to outside the 16-driver playoffs in a span of 10 months. As for the number 1 team, statistics have absolutely flourished in every single stats line. 5 top 5s, 14 top 10s, and a win at Kentucky have the team in a better long-term position compared to the days of Jamie McMurray. One thing in neutral, however, is a Championship 4 appearance. 2015, 2016, and 2018 were all competitive seasons, but the older Busch brother never capitalized on a ticket to Miami. Not to mention, Ganassi's never made it past the round of 12. Despite all of this, as well as a 14-point deficit into Richmond, I'm still confident Kurt Busch can get out of this hole. Matt McCall and company have earned stage points and brought horsepower consistently through the first 2/3 of the season. Make some decent strategy calls and they could make up the deficit on Eric Almirola and Ryan Newman. This could be a dark horse contender, especially if a few heavyweights falter in the remaining rounds.
Alex Bowman will win.
Countering the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues, Alex Bowman completely 180'd his season. Exiting Richmond last April, the 88 wasn't even in the top 20 in points. Greg Ives and crew started getting results on their side, scoring 3 consecutive second-place finishes and claiming career win number 1 in the Windy City. Once again, however, they're in the midst of a season slump. Ending the regular season, the 88 ended on a sour note, netting only 1 top 10, a mediocre 10th place outing at Michigan. For a sophomore playoff contender, Alex Bowman didn't look too nervous last weekend at Vegas, scoring a solid 6th place finish. Honestly, it's not likely they'll be playing Gloria in Miami, but you never know with the Cinderella stretch of a season.
Erik Jones wins in 2019.
With hard work and determination, Erik Jones has successfully turned around his season. The performance has skyrocketed with 5 top 5s and 7 top 10s in the last 11 races. The high for that Jones boy, however, was claiming the Southern 500 3 weeks ago. The third-year driver drove like a veteran at one of NASCAR's most challenging tracks. It gave flashbacks to the Snowball Derby as he had to fend off arguably the most talented driver in the garage. Once a crew to pride below the cut line has now become one of NASCAR's hottest teams. That is, until his clutch stuck in second gear. Chris Gale and Erik Jones are now faced with championship adversity in week 1, 26 points below the cut line. Realistically, it's must-win mode for that Jones boy. Richmond and Charlotte are chaotic tracks, but I just don't see 3 to 4 contenders faltering to make a difference. If they can somehow dig out of this hole, however, they will become a top contender for Miami.
He might have cleared me anyways down there, but yeah, I wish I could have got a win for McDonald's and got them in victory lane. But
one other team cashing in on results has been Kyle Larson. 5 top 5s and 8 top 10 finishes since Pocono have jolted the 42 from 16th to 9th in the points. Kyle Larson has also led 111 laps leading into the playoffs, nearly claiming Darlington on the final restart. With this spark in performance, the stage is set for a potential postseason run. Homestead is Kyle Larson's favorite track, and if he can make the championship race, he has a good chance at the championship. The key word here is if. Despite the performance, the 42 goes nowhere with a term I like to call full Larson mode. Larson's dirt track persona can be flashy, but it's also resulted in 6 DNFs this campaign. A storybook championship run lies ahead, but the question is, can Kyle Larson limit those bonehead moves while also aggressively trying to win races?
Woo! Yeah!
Jeremy Bowens and crew are pretty much an average 7th to 12th place team. Considering how well Brad K and Logano are doing, these types of races are unacceptable. This 12 team desperately needs a deep postseason run and a win or two to create some positive momentum. No doubt, stages could decide how far Ryan Blaney makes it through the bracket. The Vibrant Deuce has accumulated 15 top 5s and 30 top 10s and 170 points during the first 2 segments of the race. For comparison, Clint Bowyer wouldn't have even made the postseason without getting those critical points. Scoring points often and frequently will help Ryan Blaney in the long run and hopefully get past the round of 16 and maybe the round of 12.
That's all right. At least I saved it, and we still got a race car here to run with on Saturday night.
With the regression of Jimmy Johnson, his former crew chief Chad Knaus is certainly progressing. He's taken a 24 team that netted 9 DNFs and an average finish of 22nd into a consistent contender. William Byron has netted 4 pole awards, doubled his top 10s, and has netted a +9 gain in the point standings year to year. Chad Knaus is now the only active figure to never miss the playoffs. In terms of going a step further, Willie B has a solid shot to make the round of 12. Las Vegas was a solid top 10 run, and the Charlotte Roval should be a strong suit as well. Richmond, however, could be a struggle considering Hendrick's performance back in April. Regardless, it's great to see the 24 up front and competitive once again. Nothing for this team to hang their heads on, and it's an A-grade season from my perspective.
It's a guy that I picked to run really well today, and I'm glad to see him moving toward the front.
Subtracting the first 7 races, Erik Jones and the 10 team haven't looked like a playoff caliber contender. They've only netted 4 top 10 finishes since March, coupled with a tremendous downward stretch to end the regular season. Considering the preseason expectations, they're one of the biggest disappointments of the regular season. Nonetheless, the Smithfield team is hoping to create a smoke show in the playoffs and match the highs of 2018's magical run. They're in the same position as 2018, except one major difference. Stewart-Haas Racing isn't as quick and efficient. Las Vegas showcased a flaw within their long-run performance. Besides Kevin Harvick, the other 3 cars went from the top 5 to 12th to 15th by the end of Stage 2. Yet somehow the 10 crew has a 6-point cushion over the cut line. Aric Almirola and John Klossmeyer will need perfection over the next 2 events and an insane amount of speed to advance past the round of 12.
What she's saying is hell has frozen over. That's what just happened.
It truly baffles me how this 14 team made the playoffs. Clint Bowyer made countless driver mistakes and gave away critical position points in nearly every single race. For their credit, Mike Bugaravich and company ultimately performed when it mattered, scoring 3 top 10s and 104 position points to end the regular season. Las Vegas carried the momentum, with Bowyer claiming his first pole award since 2007. Hell had truly frozen over. This could be a statement race and ignite a similar run to the Bossman 8 campaigns ago. The 14 responded with a 25th place finish. Seriously, how do you fail to score stage points from the pole position? Of course, you have comers and goers to start the race, but they should have at least retained a 7th to 9th place running position. Sitting 21 points below the cut line, it's must win over the next 2 weeks. I would stick a fork in them, but Richmond is one of Bowyer's better tracks. He had a Ford Mustang capable of winning last spring. Unfortunately, Joey Logano and MTJ were just a notch better. If they can get rid of the cartoonish outings, just maybe a round of 12 ticket awaits. To the distaste of myself and many of NASCAR's faithful, Ryan Newman has made the postseason. He's made himself notorious as NASCAR's roadblock, which was rekindled with Matt DiBenedetto at Bristol. Despite the criticisms of racing drivers too hard, Ryan Newman will merely laugh at this outrage. The Purdue mentality of working hard and fighting for every inch has greatly improved the 6 team compared to Trevor Bayne. It's launched the Rocket Man this far into the season, and it sure isn't changing over the next 10 weeks. Can't get past Ryan Newman for position? Welcome to the NASCAR Cup Series. Nothing is given in this league, and it's only going to ramp up with the added aggression on the track. With the summer swing falling into autumn, tensions will certainly boil here in the playoffs. You have a great mix of young, old champions and underdog contenders in this battle. Now it's time to pick the championship four that will be competing in Miami. Personally, I would like to see Kevin Harvick, MTJ, Joey Logano, and Chase Elliott battle for the trophy. 4 different drivers, 3 champions, and 1 emerging star in NASCAR's youth movement. Seeing them battle at Las Vegas, it would certainly make an interesting 400-mile event. With that stated, I think Denny Hamlin will be competing for a championship instead of Chase Elliott. I truly think the 11 team is consistent enough to make it to Homestead, and they could be a serious threat down the stretch. One driver you probably expected me to pick was Kyle Busch. Honestly, based off of Las Vegas, I don't like where this team is going. Kyle Busch right now reminds me of his 2008 to 2009 mindset where he gets angered at everything and it ultimately affects his performance. That could affect him when the season goes down the line, and that's why I don't have him making Homestead. So anyways, this is NRF signing out, and just remember, life's a beach and then you drive.